Well, I'm really impressed with Ole Miss. I think what I would do is I'd learn from history. Last year we were picked 11th or 12th, and Tennessee was picked 13th or so, and won the league. These guys are picked 13th or 14th, and they're going to compete for the league championship. It's a strong statement, and I hate to put that on my friend Kermit Davis, but he's done a great job. Andy Kennedy left the program in really good shape. Andy won 20 games almost every year, and he left Kermit with a really good club. These three guards, I think together, are as good as any three-guard combination is in the league. Now the Jared Harper, Bryce Brown, Samir Dowdy, or Malik Dunbar, who else you would put in there, is going to be a great matchup. It's going to be a great challenge for both backcourts. Again, they remind me a lot of us a year ago. Tyree reminds me a lot of a Bryce Brown, who was a very good player, as a sophomore, and became an all-conference player as a junior. Tyree's, in my mind, is the most improved player in our league. Great scorer, great range, great athletic ability. And you put him alongside Davis and Schuler, who have at times were the better player. It's quite a combination. I think the key is Kermit's got them really efficient offensively. Andy had given them great freedom, and so through that freedom, they were incredibly dangerous team. Last year we had two close games against them, and of course Ole Miss has dominated this series. They've dominated everything over there in Oxford for many, many years. Last year I think was the first time we'd beaten them like 8 or 9 tries. But now that Kermit's got them, he's got them a little more disciplined offensively, and they just don't waste possessions. They get really good shots. They've got good, big, physical five-man that you need in the league. They got 2 of them, so they got issues as far as foul trouble is concerned. And then Kermit went out and he got 2 really good freshman 4-man, Hinson and Buffin, who I think are going to remind you of Chuma, but Chuma's a year older. So it's going to be quite a chess match. I do have Kermit and I both have a lot of experience against each other, and we've played a lot of good games over the years. So there won't be a ton of mystery. The issue with when you go against a team as well coached as Ole Miss, if you guard Kermit a certain way, he has counters, and he'll make you pay for guarding him that way. And that's what great offensive coaches do. If you do this, they'll do that. If you do that, they'll do this. And that's what makes them so good.
I know you talked about kind of being concerned about the free throw percentages, but you guys have also gotten to the line a lot less this year. I mean, what do you kind of look at maybe the reason for that, and is it a concern?
Well, yeah, it is a concern. I mean, I think Jared Harper's done a great job leading us now at the free throw line. But a year ago, we probably had 3 or 4 guys that were shooting above 80%. And right now, probably Samir's the only other player we have above 80%. It doesn't get there enough. Bryce is in the high 70s, but he needs to get into the 80s. And then we just got too many 1 out of 2s. And in close games, look, Vanderbilt Ole Miss was a great game up in Nashville. If Vanderbilt does a better job from the foul line, it's a much closer game. And when you're playing close games, which you're going to be playing in conference play, 1 out of 2 is going to get you beat.
Do you want to get to the line more, though?
I'd like to get to the line more. By rule, I'm not allowed to talk about getting to the line. I'm not allowed to talk about the way the game's being called and things like that. I will say this, that when we had no post play a year ago, and we had to spread it, drive it, and shoot it, we got to the line a lot because we drove it a lot. And it's always been the case that when you've driven it a lot, they tend to call those hand-checking fouls and get guards to the foul line. When you try to get the ball inside, they allow so much more physicality by nature of the size of the men that are in there. And then when the ball does get in there, they allow a lot of physicality. And expect the bigs to play through the physicality as opposed to sometimes they don't expect the guards to. And that may be right. We're not shooting as many free throws, even with a stronger inside game than we've had in the past. That wasn't any kind of criticism. That's just basketball 101.
Are you expecting a physical game on Wednesday night? Because his teams have that tradition.
Oh, yeah. I definitely expect both Kermit's teams as well as Andy's teams, as well as their personnel. This is a very mature team. You know, they bring back a lot of guys. You know, they bring back four starters. And so they're big, strong, physical guys. Their 5-men are also really, really big, thick. So, yes, I would expect them. There's going to be a lot of wood being thrown around out there.
I know you touched on it the other day about having a little bit of concern about the team heading on the road for the first time after only one in non-conference play. How much do you think this opening stretch of SEC play is going to tell you about the team just for the first 6 on the road?
Yeah, we're going to learn. Obviously going to learn a lot about ourselves. And I watched our game last year at Ole Miss last night, and we didn't play great, but we played hard. And we didn't play great offensively, but we didn't let that affect us at the defensive end. So we're going to have to do a great job defensively. That'll carry us. Defense and rebounding will carry a little while. The 2 games we've lost, we were not very good offensively. Turned the ball over, didn't get good looks. It then also affected our defense. Both Duke and NC State jumped out and scored. If on the road you let that happen again, that'll be a real challenge. I look at this as a big opportunity. I honestly look at this like Tennessee a year ago. Where was Tennessee a year ago? About in the same spot Ole Miss is. He might have been a little higher ranked, maybe, because they might have had a couple of more marquee non-conference wins. They were picked 13th. That's where Ole Miss was picked. And then they evolved a year ago. And I kind of look at them really, really very similarly.
This 11 days you've had or will have, what do you feel like you've accomplished during that time? Is anybody personally you feel like have stepped up or improved in that? I tell you what, we've made the most of it. But it's been a real challenge. I mean, we've tried the best we possibly. We came back after Christmas and played North Florida the 29th, and that balance of our schedule was really perfect. The games we played through finals, we had a stretch of UAB, NC State, Murray State. At that point, we'd probably played as many games as anybody in the country. You go home for Christmas, take a few days off, come back the 26th, 27th, 28th, play the 29th. We're right on target. Take a couple days off for first of the year. Then all of a sudden you got 9 or 10 more days off. So we came back January 1st and tried to work on ourselves that week as best we possibly could. I just hope that we are sharp early.
Have you tried to schedule a game during this time?
You don't get your conference schedule until so late that the non-conference schedule is basically done. And we get our conference schedule sometime in late September, early October. I wouldn't even be surprised if we didn't have it till October. You guys should check that. But at that point, there's no games to be had. So we played against ourselves.
Anything in particular that you wanted to get better on during that time off?
Look, we prepared for Ole Miss and Georgia a little bit because we had some time. So we'll have a good preparation. But you can't duplicate, Ole Miss's 1-3-1 trapping defense, and you can't duplicate the way they change things up and stuff. You got to do it in a game, and then the communication and the poise. I think those are all the kind of things that you're going to see having 4 out of your first 6 on the road.
You said you guys played against yourself. Didn't really have that luxury as much last year just because of the numbers. How much has it helped actually having enough guys to go best on best?
It helped. We didn't do a ton of it, and again, I think that you don't want to jinx. You don't want to jinx yourself in this, but I'm telling you, coaches in season, it's hard to go best on best. It is hard. The big kid Udoka got hurt for Kansas in a practice. I have no idea what happened in practice. He could have been doing a drill. But it's every coach's nightmare to lose somebody in practice. We're going to go today. We're going to practice pretty good today, and then travel tomorrow. And so you got to be careful not hitting too hard in practice while you're trying to stay sharp and prepare. That's why you really need the games. And then what happens in the games, no matter what, the kids have got a different level of adrenaline. So even though I tell them we're going to hit, we're going to practice, we're going to go, it's still practice. And sometimes that adrenaline is what actually keeps you from being injured. It's game. It's on. Everything is firing.
Health of the team pretty good though going into this.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're good. We got a little. We got some flu run around, but that's not going to be a factor.